Welcome to the Art Project. I put out videos about art, about teaching art. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you have never been here before, please subscribe and tap the bell so you get notifications of future videos. This is my sketchbooks, dating from all the way back to, I think, about 1996. There are 60 of them. I just completed number 60 yesterday. Believe it or not, I don't draw or write in my sketchbooks regularly, like not often enough. I know that's kind of hard to believe maybe when there's 60 of them here, but I really don't. I just, I work in them as often as I can, as often as I can be motivated to. Sometimes I have to force myself to do it, when you work, or really when you live, you have to force yourself to do things. I don't like to exercise all the time, but if I want to stay fit and stay in shape and stay skinny, I have to force myself to exercise. That doesn't mean it is bad for me. Doesn't mean that it is not something that I don't want to do. I mean, I kind of don't want to exercise all the time, but I need to exercise. And then when I do exercise, I'm glad that I did exercise, and it makes me a better person. And so it's kind of the same way with these sketchbooks. I don't always work in them like I should, but when I do, it's beneficial and it's good, and it's also a record of my life. I can go back and on just about any given day or any given week of my life since 1996, I can look it up and I can see what I was doing around that time, which is pretty handy for me because my memory seems to be going. I can hardly remember what I did yesterday. So it's good to write stuff down. Not only that, but, and I've said this in videos before, but this is a way of making your mark. Maybe I don't complete any master paintings like Salvador Dali, but I do what I do, and it is a record of my life. And whether it be in writing like this, or whether it is in drawings that I do, sometimes I sketch out ideas for works of art that I want to do, and other times I draw some things that I've already painted. For example, this picture, I think it was a painting that I did, and then I wanted a record of it in my sketchbook as well, so I went back and drew it in my sketchbook. And sometimes I just sit and draw friends and students and stuff like that. This sketchbook is number 13, from March 16th of 2003 to July 5th of 2003. So just a few months. In just a few months, I put together this sketchbook and did this sketchbook. These are some examples of things that I did in class with my students to study color theory. A lot of this was painted on scrap paper and then cut out and glued down to make interesting designs in my sketchbook. I did a cool color painting and a warm color painting. And like I said, these paintings are like cut out collage-like pieces. You see these little pictures like this. These are cutouts, or not cutouts, but collages of wood. I did a whole bunch of pieces of wood and cut them to shape and fit them into like a puzzle-like way into a frame. Did this, and it was part of a graduate class that I took. So you'll see a few of these things as I went through and kind of attempted to do this graduate class. But then there's also just kind of random drawings of me. I'm going to vent for a few minutes here while you look through my sketchbook. I have a man cave, or that's what I like to call it. It's really just sort of my studio. It's 6 feet wide, by 9 inches long. There's not a whole lot of space in it. When the sun beats down on my studio, it gets real hot. So I have to have the air conditioning running. And if I don't have the air conditioning running, it gets hot fast. But I can't run the air conditioning and do some audio for the video like I'm doing right now. And my children do not understand that when that door is locked to the man cave, you don't touch it. You don't knock on it. You don't rattle the door until I answer. I'm trying to record some audio. And I've got to do it fast because I can't do it with the air conditioner on, and it is getting hot up in here. Anyway, sorry. Love these kids, but just had to vent for a second. So, back to the sketchbook. Man, there is all kinds of random stuff in here. This is where I make to-do lists. I write down dates. I write down grocery lists. I draw chairs. By the way, in this particular sketchbook, and you're going to see, I think, more of this as we go later on, I did a whole series, or if you want to call it sustained investigation in AP Studio art terms. I did a whole sustained investigation of chairs. I probably didn't take it near as far as I could have, but you'll see several drawings of chairs in this book. And I did several paintings. I don't know how many paintings that I did of chairs. There's a bunch of different ones, and they weren't just like a painting of a chair. A lot of times there was environment, maybe. I don't know if that's a good way to say it, but there was other stuff besides the chairs, but the chair was the main focus. I planned things out like you see right here in this particular picture. I made some furniture. I'm kind of a big fan, or was a big fan at the time, of the arts and crafts movement. You have to Google that if you don't know. We actually bought our house. This is a picture that I drew of my house. We bought our house because it was like a little arts and crafts bungalow. It was made shortly after or around the bungalow, the arts and crafts movement in architecture. And so we were all about doing things to our home to kind of accentuate that. As it turns out, a lot of those things are very expensive. So I don't know that our house ended up looking terribly arts and crafts, or as much arts and crafts as we wanted it to, but we tried. I loved the font that they used in some of the arts and crafts lettering, and it was fantastic. So I tried to teach myself to write that way, and you can see here I did a couple of journal pages where I wrote using sort of the arts and crafts style lettering. It was good, but it was also a little bit tedious too, so I didn't continue to write like that for very long. So anyway, this is just kind of a little run through of my sketchbooks. Back then there were still cell phones. I mean, I'm sorry, still payphones. I didn't have a cell phone. And I was kind of against cell phones for a long time because I'm like, if I need to make a call, I can just go to that payphone over there. Now, obviously that's not as convenient as having a cell phone, and I am long over the idea that we shouldn't have cell phones. I love my cell phone. I'm addicted to my cell phone like everybody else. But during the time that I was working in this sketchbook, I didn't have a cell phone. Somehow or another, I ended up skipping a bunch of pages. I'm not sure why. But I also, probably because I wanted to go and use these smaller sketchbooks that I had bought, and so I kind of rounded out the other sketchbook and then went to these. Turns out I didn't really like these sketchbooks very much. I think they're Moleskines, and Moleskines make some really great sketchbooks, but these were not them. These were sort of like notepads, and the paper was awful. The paper was like really thin, and you couldn't erase on it without, like, I can't even explain what it did. It just wasn't good for erasing of any kind. And I'm not even like really big on erasing anything anyway. I usually just kind of draw, and if there's mistakes, and I leave them. But the few times that I tried to erase, it was so nasty. Like the way it did the paper was so nasty, I didn't even want to work. So eventually, I worked in these sketchbooks for a little while, and then I stopped using them, and that sort of finalized this particular set of sketchbooks. So this is kind of like 3 sketchbooks in one, but I don't really count it that way. I taped 2 small sketchbooks into the back of one regular size hardbound book. So here I am combining chairs with the arts and crafts style, sort of Art Nouveau style drawing of painting design. And so anyway, trying to manipulate chairs a little bit and come up with different compositions with them, drawing them from the bottom, drawing them from the top, drawing them from the front. Did several studies on the principles of design using the chairs, and compositional studies like the triangular format. Anyway, that is the sketchbook, and I think it might be kind of rounding out. And when I was doing these this chair series, people were just bringing me chair stuff. Like I got some chair cards, postcards that had chairs on them. People would tear chairs out of magazines and bring them to me. This is one of the chairs that I did in a painting, but it was 16 by 20, and I took a picture of it and printed it out and put it on the front of that sketchbook. People brought me little trinket chairs, like little dollhouse type chairs. One lady even traded me a chair for a painting, and a painting for a chair. That was good. I got a real chair. It was a really cool chair too. Here's some birdhouses that I designed and drew, and that coffee table that you just saw. I built that, gave it to my mom and dad. My mom and dad put it in a rental house, and some renters stole it. It was kind of crazy. I really liked that coffee table too. Anyway, that's the end of the book. Hope you enjoyed it. Go make some art. Go do a sketchbook.